Hi, welcome to Crash Course. I'm Adam Maleo. You may think you know a lot about the Black Death, but today I'm here to teach you a lot more than you already knew. Plagues and diseases have been a major part of shaping the history of mankind. In the year 165 AD, the Antonine Plague was an ancient pandemic of either smallpox or measles, brought back to the Roman Empire by troops returning from military campaigns that claimed the lives of about a third of the population. Now, the Antonine Plague can be compared to the bubonic plague or the Black Death that we are learning about today, which killed also about a third of the population. Other major pandemics that killed large populations would be the 16th century American plagues brought back by settlers coming to the Americas. Now, the Black Death that we are learning about today spanned from the year 1347 to the year 1351, and that's called the Black Death. Now, other bubonic plagues, such as the Great Plague of Marseille from 1720 to 1722, were also bubonic plagues, which killed 100,000 people. In October of 1347, 12 Italian Genoese merchant ships returned to the Sicilian port of Messina from a trip to the Black Sea, which is one of the key trading routes with China. Within days, the disease spread to the city surrounding the countryside. When the ships arrived at the ports, those who came to greet the ships saw the effects of the mysterious disease. Many aboard the ship were either dead or near death, definitely a horrifying sight. Today, scientists understand that the Black Death, now known as the plague, is spread by a bacillus called Yersinia pestis, and is transmitted by fleas living on rats and spreads quickly in cities and even countrysides. The Black Death led to great panic and confusion because of its terrifying and mysterious nature. About a third of the population of Europe died as a result of the plague. The population was steadily increasing until the plague hit, diminishing the population. Giovanni Boccaccio, a Renaissance humanist and writer, wrote, quote, "At the beginning of the malady, certain swellings either on the groin or under the armpits waxed to the bigness of a common apple, others to the size of an egg, some more and some less, and these vulgar named plague boils," unquote. Because of the panic caused by the Black Death, doctors refused to see any patients in fear of getting infected with the fatal disease. Priests refused to administer last rites to those infected or fearing death. Many people left cities and escaped to the countrysides in hopes to escape the diseases. However, this was not a great plan because it affected cows, goats, sheep, pigs, and chickens as well. So many sheep died, in fact, that there was a widespread wool shortage in Europe. Many people, desperate to save themselves, even abandoned their sick and dying loved ones.
Bring out today, there's one. Ninepence.
I'm not dead.
What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence.
I'm not dead.
Here. He says he's not dead.
Yes, he is. I'm not.
He isn't.
To understand the carnage caused by the Black Plague, a quote from an anonymous eyewitness from the time. Quote, "Realizing what a deadly disaster had come to them, the people quickly drove the Italians from their city, but the disease remained, and soon death was everywhere. Fathers abandoned their sick sons. Lawyers refused to come and make out wills for the dying. Friars and nuns were left to care for the sick, and monasteries and convents were soon deserted, as they were stricken too. Bodies were left in empty houses, and there was no one to give them a Christian burial," unquote. Since the biology of the Black Death was not understood by the people of Europe during this time, many believed that the Black Death was punishment by God and retributions for sins against God. Many felt that the only way to overcome this disease was to get God to forgive them. Some people believed that the only way to do this was to purge their community of groups that were easy to blame. For example, thousands of Jews were massacred in 1348 and 1349. Some upper-class men joined groups of flagellants who went from town to town engaging in public displays of penance and punishment as an attempt to regain God's love. They would beat themselves and whip themselves and others with straps studded with sharp metal while townspeople looked on. Now remember, this is an attempt for them to regain God's forgiveness. For 33.5 days, the flagellants repeated this ritual 3 times a day. Imagine for 33.5 days, whipping yourself many times with metal for 33.5 days. That sucks. After this, the flagellants would move to the next town and repeat the process again. So the flagellant process provided some comfort for those that were scared of the wrath of God and death of this disease. So now, while it was providing some comfort, the Pope began to be worried, and the Pope's authority over the flagellants had begun to usurp, and in the face of papal resistance, the movement began to fall apart. Now, it's time for the open letter. Dear rats, while you do play a large role in ecosystems around the world and provide invaluable data for research and testing, you really messed it up for about 1/3 of Europe's population. Best wishes, Adamaleo. By the 1350s, the Black Death had finally ceased after killing about 1/3 of the population of Europe. Now, today, the Black Death does not reoccur because of better public health practices and better sanitation. Now, you know a lot more about the Black Death than you did before. So, I'm Adamaleo. Thanks for watching Crash Course, signing off.
Who's that lady? Who's that lady? Beautiful lady. Who's that lady? Who's that lady? Who's that lady? That real fine lady. The beautiful lady. I wish somebody